Hey everybody, it's Tafony here once again. Hope you're doing well. Today I am rambling about the neutral Labs Elmyra-2. It sounds like this. Okay, disclaimers by now, you are probably aware have moved down below to the description, but I am going to say quick off a side note. One, thank you to my friend Jeff for lending me this for this video, and with saying that, it is currently running the beta firmware, so there's a lot of things about the Elmyra-2 that are deep that are not going to be covered in this video, and there might be things on here that you're thinking, if you're more familiar with it than I am, that why is it doing that? What is that color in the mode maybe? Beta firmware on here, and you know, some things might be a little bit different on that regard. And with all that being said, I'm borrowing this. I don't want to get too mangly with the button combos or the binary settings, meaning you can hold their shift functions where you hold buttons and enter actual combos like sequences of taps. I'm not going to do that today. A, because I'm borrowing it. B, because that is a level of depth that I'm not interested in scraping the surface of, frankly. I think, honestly, the Elmyra is probably at its best when explored, and I think that, like, explored in a knob twiddling way, and I think it also makes a nice desktop unit for the same reason, because this one also comes with a desktop case. Now, I have the Eurorack version here. I also don't have the different ouch circuit. I don't know what they're called, the jumper packs, the Game Boy cartridges. I know they're not that, but you can't put those in these slots. I don't have any of those, so we're just going to roll with the Elmyra basically at surface level and explore it. I'm not an expert on it. I just want to have some fun with it and ramble about it, and I kind of like the idea of rambling about someday having like an insane repertoire of, I mean, this is part of the reason why I do the almost daily videos, is why I do so many of them. I just love the idea of there being an insane, almost encyclopedic level of rambling about videos, and even if sometimes the depth is super surface level, I think that's okay. I'm here to have fun, and hopefully you are too. So what is it? 42 HP or desktop synthesizer, full synthesizer, and I think semi-modular stuff, and granted it's in a modular system right now, but semi-modular stuff, if this was your only box, I think that is a really cool piece. It is 4 independent voices. Now, there's multiple oscillators, I believe, per voice, so you can end up with chords. Like, there's different modes on here, and one of them, and forgive me, I'm not a master, this PG setting is changed on here. I believe the purple mode is a part of the beta firmware. I don't want to get too in the weeds with the specifics about those sort of things. Just to say that it's 4-voice polyphonic, 4 envelopes, but there are chord modes on them, so you could kind of extend it beyond the 4-voice polyphony into 4 voices of paraphony. But there is only one filter overall that sounds like this. And I don't know if it's the patching situation I have on right now, but this cutoff seems to... Hold on, take the delay off. I don't know if it's internally patched that the envelope is doing something there, but nothing. Wide open. And again, might be beta firmware. I'm not here to get into like the super specifics. And I believe you can also route the filter after the delay through use of a button combo, which is what I would want to do if this was mine, but I won't do that to Jeff's unit. So, cut off. And it shines as a crazy voice, I think. This is probably what most people would do with Elmyra-2, which is his... inspired by. Obviously, the metal touch strips are very similar. I originally thought that the Elmyra-2 name was a reference to the Elmyra-2, and I was like, made a joke in Discord about there being an Elmyra-1, and there actually is an Elmyra-1. There is a just Elmyra. It is a 3-voice version with no effects, I believe. Anyway, just to say that, just like the Lyra, I think it's at its best hitting the notes. It's vertically mounted. Well, it's beyond over vertically mounted in my case, so I can't put a penny on there. But I will say the one envelope is a little limiting because the attack and decay are all rolled into one. So depending on how you have things set up, sometimes if you want it to just loop infinitely, it can mean a lot of attack. And one way to get around this is to bring the envelope all the way down, start playing it, and then crank the envelope all the way up. So it starts playing immediately and then rings out for a really long time. That being said, it's not really what we're necessarily here for. There's also the delay section I mentioned, the low-pass filter I mentioned, the ouch circuit, which is a little wonky, and I don't know if it's because you need the packs to do it, but on here, so listen to this. I'll just let this crazy dissonant voice thing ring out, and you're going to say, why don't you make it sound pretty? But I feel like it shines better in a crazy, chaotic voice. That's what I'm here for. So there's a choke circuit. But for some reason on this one, I don't know if that's just like a wave folding thing in the beta firmware, but it, again, just shuts it off completely at low ranges. So it has to be on or I lose my amplitude completely, and I'm not sure why that is. Same for the bite section. Okay, hold on. There we go. Okay, we found a place that's more subtle. Bring the cutoff off, resonance down, and now you get a more straightforward voice sounding. Let's turn it up, actually. So right now, tune is infinite, but you can do, forgive me, this is here. Quantize it so it's locked into semitones. I wonder if there's quantized modes for scales, but that's okay. It's fun to do it this way. There is internal modulation. And then wave. And I love wavetable scanning. I've said that before. I think it's absolutely awesome. But that's basically your voices. There is a record on here for sequencing. Again, I don't know if I'd go for that myself, and I'm certainly not interested in discovering it with the little time I have with it, but it is there. If you're interested in doing some like percussive noodling sequencing yourself, it's on board, for sure. And then on the semi-modular front, kind of like, not unlike something you see on the O Coast or something, there's 2 LFOs, a additive? I'm not sure if this is a combination thing. Maybe let's just find out. So LFO right now, the frequency is like super slow. We'll turn it up a bit. If we put the output of our first LFO and put it into the add circuit, and then I'll play this again, and I'll patch it in. There's lots of CV patch points on here, which I really appreciate, because you could use this thing as 4 independent voices almost by sequencing them individually with an external sequencer, which again is what I would do and not using this crazy recording setting. So there's our LFO into the add circuit. Let's see what happens if we use our other LFO. I just feel like this is a good exercise in exploring the panel for the video and for myself. So if we have two different LFOs, what happens when we play it now? Oh yeah, so it mixes them? Yeah, very cool. That's fun. And then there's also attenuator, so maybe I want to attenuate all of that output. I'll leave it in the wave scanning on that side. We'll take the output of our attenuator. And I believe the two outputs on the attenuator mean it is a mult of sorts as well. But honestly, like, I have a script semi-written for a rambling about semi-modular. Why is there a big cat hair there? Rambling about semi-modular synthesizers and my thoughts on them. But I think we need to go output of our mixer and output into our attenuator and then out. Sorry. Then we're going to do wave scanning. I have a rambling about semi-modulars script in the back of my mind that I've been working on. But I will say the Elmyra-2 really makes a good semi-modular. In that video, I want to kind of talk about like things I hate about certain semi-modulars, how it's kind of like the worst of both worlds. But when it comes to the Elmyra, I feel like as a drone box with all of those utilities, it actually makes for like a really fun, deep thing, right? If this was your only synthesizer, it's not a bad place to start at all. And works great in a bigger case. So again, we've got our attenuator. So no wave stable scanning. Bring it in. Bring in my kicks again. Data bender, because yes. Here's the delay circuit. There is a reverb you can assign after that, but I'll just put some on the end of my chain instead for now. Forgive that disgusting kick. Let's bring in some more of that on its own. Again, big attacks that maybe you don't want to go, but I really love how this sounds. Let's scan through the wavetable a little manually. And it sounds great. I think there's lots. If you're into ambient, there's lots there for you. Now, I do want to externally sequence it, just to demonstrate as one last thing that this thing can really, the modularity of it is nice because you can control those four voices independently. Now, I don't think you can mix them in any way, like the amplitude is kind of fixed, right? There's only one output, but that's okay. I think sacrifices are made for having such a small, compact, modular synth in that way. So, let's try and mangle some patch cables. We have a gate that I will need to mult. A volt practice. So let's put that in there. Do I have sound? I have sound. some of that goodness from the data bender, which is one of my favorite modules. Let's put a gate into the voice we're already listening to for simplicity. We're going to generate a sequence. No CV yet, but... And again, my delay is so crazy that's going to start feeding back, and let's bring our envelopes way down so you can really hear. Keep my wavetable scanning modulation going in there because honestly, I think it's great. And if I can find a patch cable, CV into the pitch. Sorry, quantize. Delay off, reverb off. So there, without modulation, without anything, without delay, there's a pretty standard, pretty nice sounding wavetable oscillator buried within that wall of chaos that we turned it into. And if we bring in some of those other elements, cut it off a little bit, add some delay, add some modulation, it gets real crazy real quick, and I really appreciate it for that. Maybe I'll just patch my kick back in there. Yeah, you're gonna say, "Ooh, that sounds ugly and dissonant," and I kind of like that. I kind of feel like that's where this thing excels, for lack of a better term. Bring that kick in. Bring other voices in at the same time. Crank it up. Take my sequence out of there and let's let it drone again for another final jam. So yeah, Elmyra. Those are the good Elmyra moments. And yeah, there's a lot of help from Data Bender on that front, but still, like, that is what a voice is. Sounds great. Alright, it might be time to buy a balaclava and start playing live shows where I break snare drums and stuff, because I'm starting to really enjoy doing stuff like this. Yeah. Oh, dissonant too? Anyway, I'm Tafony, thank you so much for watching, take care, and I will talk to you soon.